The last time I sprained my ankle, I was in high school. I don't fully remember how I did it, but I'm assuming I did it during soccer. In high school, we did not have our own soccer field. We had to borrow a field from West End Middle School. I probably fell in a hole, twisted it, whatever. And so I was down for the count and I couldn't play for a decent portion of the practice in the beginning of the season. And during that time, I ended up gaining a lot of weight for a high schooler, right? I ended up gaining a lot of weight and I struggled with self-confidence for a while. And really the only main memories I still have from that high school incident is when I was sitting on my parents' couch, a giant purple leather couch with my foot propped up on pillows. And I was, hobbling around on crutches for like 3 to 4 weeks. And then I started to wear a smaller brace. And there are photos of me in Spain with my cousin and my aunt wearing the smaller brace while we're walking around. And I have a badly sprained ankle. She had in the photo, she has mono and she had a full body rash before we went on this trip. And we had to deal with this really crazy host while we were there in Spain. But that is a very, very long, crazy story for another day. But that was back in 2007, maybe 2008. So fast forward now, it's April 2025. And I'm watching both Dirks and his sister Dolly while my parents are out of town in Europe for 3 weeks. And not even 48 hours goes by and I fracture my left fibula near the ankle in my backyard when I'm letting them out at night. I slipped in the mud while trying to get them to go to the bathroom and I just lost it and slid into a tree. I crawled my way out of the mud, back up my porch steps and into the house, screaming in frustration the entire way. And I laid there on the bathroom floor, attempting to take off my dirty clothes and put on something else, and I just cried. I screamed and I cried, not necessarily out of pain from the ankle, but from being pissed off and scared about losing my confidence again. Losing my mobility, losing my independence, but more importantly, losing my momentum of finally feeling unstuck. The day before the injury, I posted a photo of me with my new haircut. I was so happy about it because I felt good about myself. I was taking care of my appearance. I wasn't exactly doing something shallow because lots of men and women like to get their hair done or they get cleaned up and it helps them feel refreshed. And I didn't change a lot about myself during that week, but leading up to that point, I had been more active. I had been doing morning workouts. And for those of you that don't know, I am not a morning person. Whatsoever. But I was doing morning workouts, I was eating better, and the hair was just kind of icing on the cake. And in less than 48 hours after getting my hair done, I slipped and cracked my fibula, and now I can't walk or stand for several months without help. Now, getting injured happens, right? And it's not uncommon for people to re-injure a previous wound because that specific body part is weaker than before the injury occurred. So for me, injuring the exact same left ankle or the exact ankle was not really unexpected. But the emotional reaction did make me wonder why this injury seemed to matter so much more to me beyond the superficial reasons, like being unable to do basic house chores or take care of the dogs the way that I want to because I can't walk. And the truth is, I think I felt like life had knocked me down just as I was starting to feel better about myself and the moves I was making in my life to help me move forward and improve. I've come to realize and accept that at your 30s, it's just a weird decade where you are rethinking everything about yourself and how you want to approach your life, your relationships, and your habits. I assume most of my listeners can probably attest. If you are a millennial coming of age now in your 30s, you've lived through multiple wars, multiple pandemics, multiple economic crises, inflation, wage stagnation that has not caught up to the cost of living. There's less available suitors or partners to build that American dream life with, if that's what you want. And don't forget the crushing student loan debt for careers that we were told, would help us pay our way through life. But now, how much do you want to bet that the diploma you earned doesn't actually describe your current job? Every step closer you think you're making still feels like a step back, and for a vast majority of us, catching a break may feel like it's completely out of reach. The last 3 years, for me, have felt like I'm holding on to sand. Every day a little bit more slips out, but I'm trying really hard to listen to my inner knowing, listen to my intuition, listen to what it's saying to me, what move to make next. So far, it hasn't felt wrong when I'm doing what it says. But as a classic overthinker, it's really hard for me to let go. I spent the last essentially 5 years of my life trying to derive meaning out of everything I'm doing, trying to align who I am and what I want to represent with what matters to me and where I want to go. And it's been hard not to think that the last 3 years in particular have been incredibly challenging for some reason. And 3 weeks ago, just when I finally felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do and making moves to listen to my intuition, the universe wants to throw a wrench in that confidence and have me break my leg. How twisted and cruel does the alleged higher power need to be to make me learn a lesson? 3 weeks into an injury and I still can't help but think, is this just a coincidence of normal human pain and inconvenience, or is there a lesson here? And if there is a lesson, what the fuck is it supposed to be? A sick joke? You want to walk out of this life that you created? Here, let me help you. As someone who's been struggling with her own self-confidence for decades and realigning her identity with things that can now properly match her values, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I've done a lot of self-work and have attempted to begin this healing process. But fracturing my fibula just showed me I have a long way to go. Of course, at first, I was angry because I lost my ability to move and walk, which means I lost my ability to exercise the way that I want, which symbolized being temporarily immobile and thus physically and now metaphorically stuck again. The very state of mind that I have been fighting off for the last 4 to 5 years. Maybe I wasn't winning the battle at an emotional level of feeling stuck or the psychological level of feeling stuck, but damn, I was winning the battle of physically making me stuck. When you are physically stuck and you have to forcibly sit and think at the exact same space all day and all night, you have to be prepared for the mental spirals that will come with it. Because if you're not ready, it'll only make it worse and possibly affect your recovery time, and I can't afford that. I've worked way too hard on myself to succumb to these same insecurities that I've just always had. If I don't work out, then I'm going to gain weight like I did in high school. If I can't walk or move, I'm going to feel like that angry teenager, and I don't want to go back there. I am sure this sounds superficial and vain and stupid to some, but that's what's going through my head right now. Life is going to throw all sorts of things at you. Physical injury, loss, promotions, devastation, renewal, luck, betrayal, love, setbacks. It doesn't really matter what the event is, but you can't prepare for all of them or know exactly when one of them is coming. But when they do, you can guarantee one thing. No matter the event, it's going to bring up unresolved emotions, feelings, or memories. But it's up to you to decide how to react, how to grieve, how to respond. Do you attempt to bury these feelings and memories again, knowing that they're just going to find a way to dig themselves out? Do you admit the truth and acknowledge what's going on in your head and in your heart so that you can recover? Do you accept this new path where you have to walk hand in hand, not only with the grief, but now with your resilience? Luckily for me, this particular injury was physical, and it mimics a previous experience of mine, so there is some light at the end of the tunnel. The question is, do I actually have the mental fortitude to see this through so that I don't spiral like that 15-year-old girl did? Do I have the wherewithal to recognize that being emotional during a physical injury is natural, but the extent of that emotion comes from my own unresolved issues of body image, shame, self-hatred, and generalized feelings of frustration for where I'm at in my life right now? If I don't want this to get to me this time, then I have to take the reaction seriously and metaphorically start hugging that younger version of me and let her know that the injury sucks, but recovery is so much easier than you think, and that old habits die hard, which means fitness isn't going to go anywhere. Neither will the gym, neither will physical therapy. And being alone right now, while you're injured, it sucks. It really does. But telling yourself that this is worse this time because you're single, because there's no one here to help you, isn't going to solve anything or make the recovery go by any faster. You need to lean on people if they offer help. Pride, it doesn't fix your problem either. Pride is probably why you still have these unresolved feelings to begin with. Concerns over what other people think of you for gaining weight after getting injured. It's only keeping the power of those high school memories alive. Being concerned that you're asking for too much or you'll overwhelm your friends who have their own lives and responsibilities to look after. Asking your friends for help isn't going to damage the quality of friendship. And if it does, then they weren't a good enough friend to begin with. But I'm here to say, mostly because I need to hear this too, don't give your power over to fear anymore. Fear might like to think that it does, but it doesn't actually have your best interest at heart every time. Now, you're just going to have to go through life a little bit wobbly. You're going to have to do things a little bit wobbly while you recover, and that's okay. Life didn't stop because you're injured, so neither should you. You just have to pivot your approach. And now I hope that whatever you might be struggling with, Wanderers, be it physical, emotional, or mental today, I want this message to reach you and remind you that everything you have faced before this moment, you have overcome. There's no reason that you should doubt yourself and your ability to overcome what you are facing now. Maybe you just need a new approach. Maybe you need to accept a helping hand. Maybe you need to just actually let it wash over you and drown you. Now you can finally allow yourself to feel what you've always been burying deep inside. Sometimes just acknowledging whatever is going on with you helps take away the power that it has over you, and it gives you the power back instead. I think the universe offers us a lot of opportunities to grow and to change, but sometimes these opportunities are presented in a way that you might least expect them. But getting caught up in the context of how that opportunity is presented to you doesn't really matter. The question you have to ask yourself when you're faced with a physical, emotional, mental setback like this is, am I going to take the universe up on its offer? Am I going to get back up and make the change that I know I need to make, or learn the lesson that I know I need to learn in this moment? What is this trying to teach me? And if you're knocked down, I hope you get back up. If you're in mourning and you need a hug, I hope you reach out and grab grief's hand. And if resilience offers to walk beside you, I hope you say yes.